actually, I think. How you enlarge yours?
Oh, when you do it, the screen right there, go to the bottom right after you the actual screen.
Right here?
No. Yeah, you see that screen at the bottom. But when you hit start, then you gotta do it after you get it going.
Okay, yeah, I hit start already.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
You hit it right there, then it should pop open.
Okay, there you go. Not work. There we go. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Makakadash.
That's all praises to the Heavenly Father. His true name in Hebrew is Yahweh. In his son's name, who the world entered to call Jesus Christ, real name in Hebrew is Yahushua. Also give a praise, honor, and glory to the Hakadash, the Holy Spirit, which is the force and entity that makes its edification possible. I want to say Shalom to all you sincere-hearted Akim wa Akwat. That's you brothers and sisters make your bodies a living sacrifice on a daily basis in this wicked and adulterous generation. Also want to give double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who taught us truth and will rule well. And as you see the title of this lesson, it's going to be a brief lesson. It says the state of the world is the result of idolatry, right? The state of this world is the result of idolatry. Because as a matter of fact, I'm going to open up with this here in the book of Exodus, and as scripture says in 2nd Ezra 7th chapter, how the Lord has given us straight commandment, meaning he's given us clear, explicit commands, of what he requires, what pleases him and what displeases him, you see. And there's a great judgment coming upon this place, especially Babylon the Great, but all throughout the four corners of the earth, stemming from idolatry, which you got something?
No,
okay. Yeah, and which idolatry is, in a nutshell, anything that you exalt above Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, anything that you anything that you exalt above the one who created you, man. That, brother.
You want the Exodus 20, right?
God.
Exodus 20:3, it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them."
That's right.
"For I, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the father upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me."
God. And we're in those times to where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is surely visiting, and he's about to really, commence that judgment upon this generation right here, pursuant to, the idolatrous ways that our forefathers, partook into, as well as this wicked and adulterous generation in these times, how they partake into idolatrous ways. And see, this system, this Babylonian, this beast system, which consists of, Babylon, America spearheading it, and you got NATO and the EU, the European Union, this Edomite system is predicated upon what? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, which all these things cater to the flesh, which in result, perpetuates idolatry. Mm-hmm. As you and I were speaking about earlier, about the, like you just simply, like the way Esau got these commercials framed, he's pushing your mind into a gear of idolatry, right? Just the cares of this life, man, is idolatry. But, what pretty much stemmed this lesson was, we were just talking about, a particular hot topic that's been going on for, the past 2 weeks now. How the Lord is allowing a lot of things and people to be exposed, like this Freaknik situation that happened in Atlanta, in the 90s. But that's just one example out of many. I mean, but there's more atrocities and more severe atrocities of idolatry that's going on in these times, man. Mm-hmm. Because we're in Babylon the Great. Y'all got anything?
This is Jeremiah 16, verse 20. It says, "Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods?" It says, therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh. And like you said, the Lord, He's letting you know. Jeremiah is speaking for the Lord, and let them know, hey, there are other gods that are upon the earth, and when you look at it, it's gods that's plural. That's the Lord G. During the time of Jeremiah, what they was doing, making wooden images of the Lord. You can read about that in Jeremiah 2, Jeremiah 10. They were setting up with all these idolatries. They was creating their own God. They would make set up trees, cut them up, set them up. You can relate that going back to the Christmas tree. That is actually idolatry that nation Israel was going into. And these are things that the Lord frowned upon. This basically drives his righteous anger. That's why he said that even in these times today, you can relate it to these times. He's finna come back and show his anger. One thing, because the nation of Israel is basically following these other gods. And we were speaking about this early, unknowingly. They're going around about this place and following these ways unknowingly. You mentioned about the commercials and things. Our people idolize these things. You have people that Jake is one of the main ones, especially like in the 90s, that would get shot over a pair of Jordans. Get shot over a chain. And all this is coming back to what? Because they see other rappers, other celebrities wearing certain things. We are the bigger consumers and for buying all this expensive shit, but yet we got the least amount of things among the other nations. Why? Because we idolize certain things we see through the rappers, through the sports, to sports and all this. So so our people, these Jake, especially in the so-called black community, oh man, they strive off idolatry without even knowing.
Hey, what's your name, Alyssa, bro?
The state of this world is a result of idolatry.
Okay, I got a quick one, bro. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes 1:9, and I'm reading the NLT. It says, "History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say, here is a new thing. Here is something new. But actually, it is old. Nothing is ever truly new." You know what I'm saying? And going into the, this lesson, man, that, like the Kahan said, and the brother Osmond, touching on how basically the things and the customs that we see today ultimately goes back into a form of worshiping the idol. You know what I'm saying? It's just in these times, you know what I'm saying? It's called by a different name. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because like the brother said, the freak need. You gonna get into the article, right?
I ain't had that article.
Oh, you
I can't.
You got that piece that you had
posted on the chat. On that phone.
Okay, damn.
Yeah. Y'all got it in the chat.
Yeah, it's probably. I got it. Yeah. So basically, the brother, you know what I'm saying? If you want to expound on it, bro, because I'm gonna make a point too, because like you talking about the freak need, basically that goes back into the worship of an idol, man. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the customs in another custom that our people keep down there in South America. They call it carnival. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to what's her name? Dionysus or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Dionysus. Or something like that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It goes back into the worship of that idol, man. You know what I'm saying? Basically orgies and all that stuff like that, drinking and the shit that you see, you know what I'm saying, happening now, that was happening back then, man. It's just now it's called a different name. You know what I'm saying? So all these customs that our people, that America pushes and that these people celebrate today ultimately goes back into the customs idols, man.
God. And that's you just said a word. What you said, carnival?
Yeah, carnival, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, what's the root word of carnival? Carnival, carne, which goes back to the word flesh. You see, and when you get that word flesh in the Greek, it translates to sarx. That's the Greek word for sarx. I mean, that's the Greek word for flesh is sarx, which the definition of it is literally means the animal nature within man. You see, so ultimately, partaking into idolatrous ways, which is ultimately catering to your flesh, right? It brings out the animal nature within man. This is why you got our women, beatboxing, and I mean not beatboxing, but twerking on cars, on a damn interstate. You know, that's bringing out the animal nature within man. You got niggas getting shot over women, committing adultery. That's bringing out the animal nature within man. You got people shooting each other for a pair of Jordans, bringing out the animal nature within man. People. We was watching that video earlier today, Mafia. How that dude got shot because he delivered the food to the wrong house. You see. Mm-hmm. See, so all these idols that Esau pushes down at people's throat, which all these idols they're not new. Christianity, so-called Jesus, you know, that white boy Jesus, he's not new. Mm-hmm. It goes back to Serapis Christian. Before that, it goes all the way back to the land of Sumer, you know, to the real land of Babylon, man. Right. And here we are in Babylon, Babylon the Great. So all these idols are great in these times. But see, the thing about it in this, let me grab this. This is book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 23. Mm-hmm. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, and this is when the Apostle Paul was on Mars Hill, you know, pretty much when he was evangelizing, and he was looking at the particular idolatries and idolatrous, you know, monuments that was erected, you know, and who was the main ones partaking into those ways? Our people, man, those Hellenized or Greekish Israelites. So he says, for as I passed by and beheld your devotions, and when you get that word devotions, it means gods that you worship. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription: to the unknown God, whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. So just as like the Kahan just brought out Ecclesiastes 1:9, there's nothing new in the sun. So just as you had our people worshiping gods that was unknown, right? Same thing in these times. If you're not worshiping Yahweh Bashmal Shah, you are partaking into idolatry. You know, going, you know, bro, being a hoe, that's idolatry. That stems back to worshiping another God. Ultimately, it goes back to Satan, which really it goes back to Yahweh Bashmal Shah, because truly there's only one power. But see, the Lord has given people, as it says in 2 Thessalonians 2:11, a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. So he set up these particular gods, these so-called gods, which are not gods, but so-called gods on the left-hand side, to give these people over into their own fleshly, carnal, animal nature desires, man. You see? So anything that's against Yahweh Bashmal Shah, that's idolatry. So at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, you either partake into the ways of Satan or you partake into the ways of Yahweh Bashmal Shah. But y'all got something?
Yeah, I got a quick one just to back that point up about that carnival. It's from Steamit.com. It says, meet the god of trance, orgy, and ecstasy, Dionysus. It says, do you know that you worship the ancient god of intoxication, orgies, and ecstasy? Nowadays, it's a mundane celebration, and it is called carnival. It says throughout the centuries, carnival is the only pagan celebration that the Christian church could not assimilate into the Christian celebration, which shows, you know what I'm saying, which we know Christianity is full of paganism. You know what I'm saying? Via we see the so-called Easter, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Christmas, you know, then it took on the Halloween, all this, etc., man. Those are pagan customs, man. But it said this custom that it's talking about with Dionysus, it was so out there that they couldn't, I guess, assimilate it, which is gonna say it. It says, throughout the centuries, carnival is the only pagan celebration that the Christian church could not assimilate into Christian celebration. It was too radical for them even today. It says the basis of carnival is so polar opposite to the Christian faith that it was never possible to erase it. You can see why by the following characteristics of the cult to Dionysus. It says, and it goes into the traits. It says Dionysius traits. It says being passionate, tendencies towards chaotic, behaving irrationally and instinctually, drinking wine towards a state of intoxication, celebration of nature and in nature, wholeness, perverse perspective of existence, music, movements, trance. It says what? Let me see. Inner worship. It says mysteries. And those are just some things. It says glorification of human beings as divine works of art. You know, and that's why you got the woman, and you know what I'm saying? She all dressed up in the shit, showing her body and moving and shit, you know, to being worshiped, man. You know what I'm saying? And all this that's a form of ancient, you know what I'm saying, paganism, man. Yeah. And who's doing it? You so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, man. our people. You know, they're the main ones to push it. That's their so-called culture that they love so much, man. Which really goes back onto idol. You know what I'm saying? The worship of idols, man. You know, which the Heavenly Father, like the brother, like we read in Exodus 20, the Lord said, "You shall put no other God before Him, man." Right. You see, and if you worship, then what it say? He's gonna visit your iniquity, man. You see, and we're coming into the time where the Lord is getting ready to visit these people's iniquities, man. You see, for their idol worship and the ways they live in their life, man. You know.
And you know, because you had mentioned that guy Dionysus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dionysus, that's the Roman equivalent to the Greek god Bacchus or Bacchus.
No, I think this is the Greek one, bro.
Dionysus. That's
wrong. Okay, that's logical.
Because I'm gonna read this here in the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, because you know this was really that culture was really pushed upon our people when we were being Hellenized during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, especially, man, when we were in the Greek captivity. Let me grab this here in the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6. All right. Because when you man, you just look at like the behaviors of our people. Like, bro, you can't look at your phone, or you can't go outside without seeing, you know, and I'm gonna say this, man, you know, through the spirit, but like, bro, Satan uses the weaker vessel the most, you know, these women. You know, that's how he really, you know, pushes idolatry, because it all goes back to the garden. You know, how Eve, she was the first one to partake into idolatry. She brought it back to her home. So, and Esau knows that. The serpent knows that in these times, man. And this is why you see, bro, it's like, it's got to be a ritual.
Right.
You know, you see all these women, you know, twerking. Like, bro, it's got to be something deeper than just a woman just want to shake her ass on a phone screen. That's literally a worship of a god, man.
Yep.
You see? And that's captivated the minds of our people, man. Now you got people that, bro, they're getting shit injected in their ass. You got niggas just, you know, drooling all over that.
And when you look at Sue, I think that goes back to what's her name? Asteroid.
Man.
When you see her depicted, she's basically like a pole. And then when you see her, she's voluptuous. She got them big ass titties,
man.
And her hips and her ass is huge. You know what I'm saying? Unmeasurably proportionate, however you say it, man. And that's what you see today. These bitches walking around with those implants, with them fucking BBLs. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It goes back to idol worship, man. It's like it, bro.
Nah, you got it. This the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and this during the time once again when Hellenization was really being forced upon our people. And that word Hellenization pretty much means to force to become a Greek. You know, to force Greekish ways, you know, upon the Israelites. So this is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So these Greeks, these Edomites, the self-proclaimed white man in these times, he's doing the same thing, right? Back then, the way he's doing right now. He's pushing his ways upon us so we can forget our law, statutes, commandments, so we can forget our culture, forget our power, right? It says, verse 7, and in the day of the king's birth, right, every month. So this nigga celebrated his birthday every month, man. You see? And what do you see our people, bro? Especially the black woman, because once again, she's the biggest idolatry. Idolatry. She said, bro, she celebrate her birthday for a whole year.
Yep. I was gonna say they celebrated for a whole month. I've seen that multiple times. This is my month. Yep. We go out every weekend.
But see, that goes back to the ways of the serpent. So it says, and in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by, talking about the Israelites, we were brought by bitter constraint, meaning forcibly, to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus, right, the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Now I'm gonna grab this in the GNT version, right? This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6. I'm gonna start at verse 4 in the GNT version. Gentiles filled the temple, right? Talking about these Greeks, they came into our temple, man, and they was just defiling it. Gentiles filled the temple with drinking parties and all sorts of immorality. And what is the temple? Who's the temple in these times? We are, right? Our bodies. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16 says, know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh Shemal Shah? So in these times, Esau's doing what? Going hard body to defile the temple, man. To make our people, you know, forget our power and break that connection right, by our people partaking into idolatry, adultery, because adultery is very rampant, man. Adultery stems back to idolatry. That's you, bro. You're worshiping Satan head on, man. But it says Gentiles filled the temple with drinking parties and all sorts of immorality. Yeah, doing it up to you know what? That came back from the Greeks, man. You see, and Jake is heavy into that, man. It says they even had intercourse with prostitutes there. Talking about those temple prostitutes, and they was carrying, bro. And once again, you holding that Wisdom of Solomon, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Con. Okay, I'm gonna grab that. It says forbidden objects were brought into the temple, and the altar was covered with detestable sacrifices, prohibited by our law. It was impossible to observe the Sabbath, to celebrate any of the traditional festivals, or even so much as to admit to being a Jew. Now check this out. Verse 7, each month when the king's birthday was celebrated, the Jews were compelled by brute force to eat the intestines of sacrificial animals.
Chitlins.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yep. Chitlins, man. And you see, our people, they're not even compelled no more, bro. They are willingly giving themselves up to these things, man. Mm-hmm. It says, then during the festival, in honor of the wine god Dionysus, right? Because the brother just read about Dionysus, and we just got it in the KJV that that was Bacchus. But see, the Romans, just like Esau does, man, he takes from all these particular empires and cultures, and he just repackages them, retwists them, man. You know, and this is why Paul said in Acts chapter 17, how you worship gods who you know not. You see, so our people are caught up into idolatry and they don't even know it. That's what makes America so dangerous. But see, because back then they knew that they was worshiping God. They was sacrificing those guys directly.